What's up, good people? It's playoff time! Let's go! It's playoff basketball in the WNBA, and that's pretty much where my mind is at right now. That's pretty much where my head is at, my brain is at, but it's also going to be where our show is at because I'm going to do a full-on breakdown of the WNBA playoffs, teams 1 through 8, including, of course, our squad. And then we have CM, the MC, which is the MC for the Atlanta Dream, who's going to come on and just talk about his role in how does he keep us hype in the arena? Because if you've been there, you already know. And then we have my former co-worker, my guy, Mojo Rawley, come on. I mean, this is like the most winningest wrestler. We're going to get all into it. We're going to talk some football, and we're also going to talk WNBA playoffs with the crew. Let's go! I got nothing in my pocket. And speaking of getting hype, the guy, if you've been to an Atlanta Dream game, the guy on the mic that's saying, hey, Miss Parker, or defense, or that's offensive. It's my guy, CM the MC. I had to chop it up because I want y'all to know all the parts that make up the dream. Talk to him, CM.
CM, my guy, welcome back, another season. Listen, so what are your thought process? Because a lot of people, your job is in-arena announcer. Is that the actual title? Okay, so like what things do you prepare for? Because people don't necessarily know, like they know your job, they experience it, they feel it, but like what is it like to be the in-arena announcer?
Listen, it's amazing, first and foremost. Just being able to be the entire voice that the people hear. Not necessarily like see per se, but like when you hear it, you can like feel it. It's just amazing, man. I just come in. I always get myself ready, like headstrong, like.
And how do you do that? Like, how does you get ready?
I wake up like a player. I wake up like a basketball player. Like when it's game day, you don't really have to tell me anything for real. Like I'm just locked in. I'm motivated, especially like when you see like which teams are playing at which certain part of the season. You just wake up self motivated. So you just try to like give yourself out as much as you can so everybody else can feel it around you.
I love that. And so like, do you study because you got to make sure you say things right. So are you like, how does that process? Because that's a big thing right now. Like we got Alicia Gray, okay, with our team, and she just told me like she pronounces it like was it Alicia or Alish? So it's like you better get it right first of all.
With names, it's definitely nerve-wracking. I definitely find myself probably like going over names like maybe 3-4 times before game day tips off. Always talking to the PRs with both sides, like, hey, like just make sure like we get this right. We straight. Okay, cool. But yeah, it's a rush, man. It's just everything. Like just, man, I wish I could like really describe it in more ways than one. But like when you come to the South Side and you get that real deal, good Southern hospitality experience, you know what I'm saying, with a little lemon pepper sprinkle.
Okay,
hey, listen, it's an incredible feeling, man.
Yeah, you better give us all of that says okay. And
sprinkle.
listen, you also, but you're not just working for the Dream. You're like sports in Atlanta at this point. You work for the Hawks as well. So like, was that a goal of yours? Like, how did you what's the career path to come to become?
Man, listen, this whole thing has been a dream. I guess you could say all puns intended.
Okay.
With me being around the whole association. I didn't think that it would map out the way that it did, but I cannot thank God enough for how it happened. With the higher-ups from the Hawks actually giving me the assist, you know what I'm saying, to become the PA. Of course, like, work towards it. You know, I had to audition. Yeah. Once auditions hit, history was
And
written.
what you was doing in the chair, like, just saying things to the, what is it, was it an audio audition?
Crazy enough, I never had PA experience before when I was first presented the opportunity. So for me, like, to be thought of like in that realm, and it's like, yo, like it's yours for the taking if you want it, and just like learn the ropes, like as I literally like go through the process, like it's been a journey, and I think this is year 3-4 for me. So
wow, 3-4, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm talking to the players, and it's like year 1, year 7, so this is year 4 for you.
Yeah.
Now you came from Clark, Atlanta, right? And so
be illustrious.
Okay, look, because there's a pride that goes about that when you
Yes,
say it. There's guys behind the camera too that we got that are
indeed.
from Clark, but like. Clark is known for either, like, what do you say?
Finding a mayor, making one.
Finding a mayor or making one. What mayors have attended Clark?
Well, we got like plenty of legends. We have
you better know this too, okay?
We got Cannon. Myself. We got the young boy with DC. We have so many people that went to Clark and just pretty much like changed the game, like in media, television. I mean, anywhere you look, man, Clark has really been like putting on like for real.
Yeah, and I love that because we always like HBCUs. I think we might be pulling up the Clark's homecoming, by the way. What could I look forward to when it comes to homecoming?
Well, I can tell you this: it's going to be around October. I'm going to predict a couple things.
Okay.
The championship home to this beautiful city of A-Town.
Okay.
You know it. And when you get to Clark, Atlanta, man, for homecoming, it's just going to be beautiful. It's going to be like the biggest, blackest celebration, family reunion.
Let's go.
All of that mixed into one, man. And like I said, Atlanta, we're known for Southern hospitality. And Clark, we find a way to make one. It's definitely coaching for service.
Yeah. And what is coaching for service?
Coaching for service is real big. So it's pretty much like what you do, like with remotely Renee, and you being like all around, like in the community, you know, giving back, looking out for those, like, you know what I'm saying, who's like less fortunate. We're really, really big, and we really stand proud on like giving back to our people, you know what I'm saying, and doing things our way and making sure like we put a bigger spotlight onto things like not necessarily what we do, but what's really big, and that's really like looking out for people, you know what I'm saying, reaching out our hands and, you know, being service men and women, you know what I'm saying, in the city of Atlanta. So
I love it. You talk about the city of Atlanta. It's a character within itself. Yeah. Like, how would you describe the city of Atlanta to people that don't know the feel of it?
ATL for me is a big, I would say, big tub of gumbo. When you look at it, it's like a lot of people from a lot of different places, different backgrounds, but you still get the true essence of like what Atlanta is, with the hospitality, the love, the care, the genuineness. You know, like it's different here, man. Like, and I say Atlanta has pretty much like had its like hands around like so many things within like the culture itself. Like it's something contagious here, man. But even in that, just the excellence right here, like it's crazy. Like we thrive like no other like city, no other place in the world. Atlanta is it, man. It's it.
Wakanda forever, man. Thank you. I appreciate you. Happy to have you year to year, man.
Coming up next, we have my guy. I used to work with Mojo at TMZ Sports. He still is at TMZ Sports as a host. Shouts to Babcock, what up? But we're going to talk to my guy, Mojo. All right, let's go! Mojo, what's up? So listen, y'all may not know, but me and Mojo, we are co-workers or former co-workers. We were working together at TMZ Sports. I don't know many people that have as much energy as I do until I met you, Mojo. Welcome, Mojo Rawley, to the show, who is on God Bless Football. For the Lebatard crew that knows him, y'all probably know him from God Bless Football, but welcome to Montgomery Co, Mojo.
I'm on the show, Montgomery Co. Let's go, baby. What an intro.
Go. Listen, so I want to just tap into your expertise some too, because like I'm going to actually start at the beginning, because you told me before this that you have to go because you have a call with your old boss. And I want to talk about it because I didn't know something that Juju actually told me, where Mojo currently has the highest win-loss ratio with 86.3. Look, 86.3 matches won out of the entire active WWE roster. Mojo, what?
I'll be honest, that was a little bit of an old statistic. It was when I was wrestling at some point during my career.
Don't fact check us, Mojo.
Hey, it was accurate at one point, I can tell you that. It might still be accurate. I don't know. I got to check. But yeah, don't sleep on Mojo. I've been trying to tell everybody for a bit.
So what is it like, Mojo? Like, it's so crazy because we work together and I knew nothing about these types of things. It's so funny. So I'm like, let me get to know you in reverse now, in a sense of like, so what is that like? Because WWE, for some people, it's like they just don't get it. So can you walk us through the world of like, how is it possible that it's not real, but it's so real?
Oh my goodness. The world of professional wrestling, there's no way for you to know exactly what it is until you do it. Because I came in to WWE from the NFL. So I was like, all right, I've seen this on TV. I've watched it since I was a kid. I don't know how much of these rivalries on stage, you know, these just conflicts, how much of that is in the script, how much of it is real. I'm looking at the moves and I can tell, all right, maybe that one doesn't hurt too much, but then I'm seeing some of these other ones and I was like, if there's any way to fake that, it's a magician's act, because I have no idea how you can throw someone out of the ring on the floor, some of these slams, and have them not hurt. You learn extremely quickly, but it's a dance out there. You know, you have someone out there that you're going out with and you're there to entertain. You know, you go and you maybe have some talking points as to, you know, who's going to win the match and maybe a couple of notes about it. But once you're out there, man, it's a lot of give and take. It's a lot of improv. I mean, the shots, you're taking them. I mean, they're real. I mean, you're getting clotheslined in the neck and the chest. That's real. All the slams, that's real. I mean, there's certain areas as a friend you try to stay away from. But, hey, if it's a pay-per-view show, everything is fair game. So, I mean, the short answer is, yeah, we might know who's going to win, but the majority of those moves, there's no faking it. Those sounds, a lot of them are real, and those hits, man, they stack up.
Well, I could believe that because obviously we see injuries happen. Just like you see injuries happen in sports, you see injuries happen in WWE. So I'm curious, Logan Paul, Bad Bunny, Snoop Dogg, those are three people that have all entered into the pro wrestling world. Are they like, are they like Logan Paul? I'm not going to lie. I seen him do a flip off of the ropes and I'm like, okay, he's clearly athletic, but how would you rank Snoop Dogg and Bad Bunny in that space?
I mean, Bad Bunny has been a lifetime fan. So him coming in, if I recall, he asked WWE to come in. They didn't go and find him. He wanted to do this. And then I had some buddies that wrestled in the matches that he was involved with. And, you know, they just told me, dude, he wanted to do everything. It might have been a tag match and we were trying to protect him and not overexpose him. Because the fact of the matter is, in order to do this day in and day out, you have to train for years, not just to create your personality and persona and get down the talking points and work in a microphone, but to actually be able to do the move, to understand that ebb and flow and being able to work with another wrestler. I mean, that stuff takes a ton of time. So when we bring in these outside celebrities, you try to minimize what they're doing. You know, you coach them up. They a lot of times know exactly what they're going to do move for move before they come in, which for any wrestler on the roster, that is not the case whatsoever. I mean, most of it you're figuring out on the fly there in front of all those people. But I mean, Bad Bunny said, forget that. I'm coming in hot. I want to dive off the top rope. I want tables. Not only that, the thing you really respect outside celebrities for is when the guys don't necessarily want to beat up the wrestlers, when they respect the business enough to be like, all right, I'm small. I can't beat up some.
This would never happen in real life, basically, type situation.
They're like, they come in, they're like, kick my ass, man. I'm with it. I love this. Do it to it. You gotta love it.
No, that's interesting. And you know what? I just saw that, what was it? Endeavor's USC and the WWE officially merged today. Did you see that? Creating a publicly traded company called TKO Group. Do you have any, is that big? What tell me, is that big news in that world?
Oh, that's huge news. I mean, the crossover now between the WWE and the UFC is going to be ridiculous. I believe they bought Endeavor bought the WWE for $9.3 billion, which together, oh my goodness, right? But now it becomes, I believe, a 21 and some change billion-dollar entity between all of these pieces. But now, you know, we've seen Ronda Rousey come over. We've seen Cain Velasquez come over. We've seen Brock Lesnar go there and come back. I mean, now the doors are just wide open for talent to go back and forth between WWE and UFC. And, you know, you're seeing a lot of stuff about, you know, oh, when UFC fighters are done, maybe they can finish their careers out with UFC to stay a part of the TKO family. But I'm telling you, there are some talent in the WWE that could go over to the UFC and win matches.
For real? You really think? Because I mean, that's what I think people don't realize. That's why I was kind of asking about the WWE. To do these things, you already have to be a certain level of athletic. You have to have a certain level of discipline. So I feel like there was going to be some synergy with that crossover.
Yeah, I mean, we've got tons of wrestlers that have done MMA and they've gone back and forth throughout their careers. So those guys are ready to go. Hey, Bobby Lashley has been doing this for literally decades, but if you put him back in a UFC octagon, I guarantee he's knocking dudes out. No question in my mind whatsoever. But yeah, it's really cool. And, you know, for the wrestling, for the people that really took to the craft and wanted to learn grappling, I mean, they train MMA. Like, they're going out there performing and striking and taking jujitsu classes. And they're doing it more frequently than they're actually training inside of a wrestling ring outside of shows. Like, they're very familiar and they're well trained. I mean, we got guys that are black belts and all of these things that they're going to have a leg up. And not only that, they can take a beating. I don't care what anyone says, because the big difference between pro wrestling and everywhere else is that there's no off season here. I mean, you're doing this 4 or 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year in a different city every day. So, I mean, you take your bumps and bruises and you have to be just incredibly physically, but more so mentally tough in order to be able to handle that grind. Because, I mean, think about it. I mean, you play ball, you pull a hamstring, you tear a shoulder, you suck it up for 3 weeks to finish season so you can get the big surgery. There is none of that in wrestling. You just go until the wheels pop off and then you're out. But it's
like, that's kind of crazy. There is no off season in wrestling. So if there's no season to heal, recoup, recover, it's just go at like all gas, no brakes. That's crazy, Mojo. Coming up after the break, we'll talk more with Mojo about more football, because why? God bless football, baby. All right, so thank you for that, because I know nothing about that world. I'm like, I got to ask Mojo when he comes on here, because I know you know about all of that. But we also know that you were a football player. You played in the NFL. So you've lived a lot of lives, but I want to talk football then. God bless football. And God bless football. And I want to talk some football, because there's a lot of different things going on. First of all, my brother-in-law is a Giants fan. Is he going to have just the worst year? Like, what is my brother-in-law's season going to be like as a Giants fan, Mojo? Look at his face.
After how that game went this week, it is a complete miracle that is not the number one story coming out of New York football this week. And as bad of a game as that was, and hey, my wife's family, they're all Giants fans, so they feel the pain on this one too. But yeah, they got a little bit of reprieve here because of what happened with Aaron Rodgers this weekend. But hey, you know what? Week 1, it wasn't good. It wasn't pretty by any means, but sometimes it's kind of good as a football team to get smacked in the face right from the jump. You get out of camp, you're ready for the season, and maybe you're thinking you're a lot better than you are. I mean, preseason is almost impossible to gauge how the regular season is going to go. We've seen teams get their asses kicked early in the season and get a wake-up call and go on to win Super Bowls afterwards. I mean, the Patriots have done it when Brady was playing over there. So I'm not saying it's time to abandon ship just yet, but we're on a short leash now for the Giants.
Yeah, so on the other side of that coin, should the Cowboys be as hype as their 40-point victory shows? Like, should Cowboy fans, you know what I'm saying, should they be gassed up? They just won by 40, a 40-piece nugget.
I think Cowboys fans know better than to get too gassed up too quick. They'll do it anyways.
I was about to say, what Cowboys fans do you know, Mojo?
Hey, they're going to celebrate and they're going to talk that talk, but I think at the end of the day, they know there's a ticking time bomb coming to get us at some point. So let's talk our trash while we still can. You're flying high, you're riding high. Sometimes that's the kiss of death. You get complacent. You start to shift into cruise control. I mean, obviously, we're going into week 2, so I don't think anybody's doing that just yet. But, there's outliers in the beginning of the season. You can't judge a season by one game. I mean, give it like 4 or 5 weeks. We're not even going to be talking about what week 1 happened. Like, we're probably not even going to really remember what exactly happened here, depending on how the rest of the time goes. So I just take week 1 with a grain of salt. That first few weeks, it's just too early to tell.
I agree. It is too early to tell, but there's 2 people that it is early, but I'm going to tell you right now, Tua and Tyreek, that duo, I know it's early, but to me, they look like box office. They look like must see, and it looks scary. Again, I know it's early, but them Dolphins, what are your thoughts? Is it still too early? Because I don't know. Is it early?
I don't think it's too early to be hyped about the Dolphins. I mean, you know me, it's never too early to be hyped about anything. That's just how we do it. And I know you know what I'm talking about, but yeah, I mean, I feel like the Dolphins have just been missing a piece, and they've been kind of there. I mean, again, I take it back to when Tom Brady and the Patriots were dominating the AFC East, and no one else was essentially getting their shot to go on in the playoffs and really do their thing. I mean, now it's fair game, but the Dolphins were that one team that had their number even then, and Tua's just been doing his thing. And hey, I'm a big Tua fan, and maybe part of that is because his younger brother is my quarterback at the University of Maryland, so that gets some extra bonus points for me. But yeah, now you factor in Tyreek. I mean, that move when that was made, that was a game changer from the get-go. I mean, that was a surefire game changer that I don't know. I didn't have any doubts whatsoever that was going to be a terrific 1-2 punch. And yeah, week one, we got to see a little bit of that. And I honestly think, man, we're just getting started in that department. But the Dolphins, especially now that the Bills just lost to an Aaron Rodgers New York Jets.
Shouts to Zach Wilson and crew. Honestly, the defense. Shouts to the Jets defense. I mean, kept them in the game. So shouts to them and shouts to Zach for rallying the crew. But the last team I want to ask you about football-wise is the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, I got to ask you about my home squad, okay? Because there's a lot of energy around the Falcons. Obviously not saying that they're the top teams, but what are your thoughts? How should I feel as an Atlanta Falcons fan?
I'm not just saying this because I know that is your favorite team and that you live in Atlanta and that you're a really good friend of mine, and I would never want to upset you or do you wrong. So I don't know. For me, if you're asking me from a neutral perspective, the Atlanta Falcons, I think probably, and I think all pros will agree that they'll likely win the Super Bowl 200-0. I mean, they just have the offense, the defense, the special teams. Every player on that team is the best player in the league at their positions. I think everybody would agree with that, right?
This is why I love my fam. Okay, that's what I want to hear. Now, can you tell me what an analyst might say about my Falcons?
The same thing, of course. They know better. Everyone knows better to not do Renee Montgomery wrong. That would be a crime against humanity.
This is why I love you, Mojo. But before you go, I just wanted to ask you real quick. You have a whole business. You are a business. You are a brand. But I read one tweet where you chronicled your day, where you wake up, you're on your laptop, you have an agency that you like. Can you just tell me, list a day real quick? Walk me through a quick day of all the things that your world touches, just because I just know that people don't realize, entrepreneurs and people like you, all the things that you do.
Well, you absolutely, obviously know the grind more than most. I mean, you're an owner of sports teams and companies and podcasts. You literally do everything. So you get it. But yeah, this has been kind of a different world for me because I've been an athlete my whole life, from football right into WWE, and then had to hang up my boots, when I had that nasty COVID lung situation. But yeah, started a business. So professional wrestling, there's no union. There's not a lot of management or agents in that business, very much unlike other sports. So, I thought I was in a position with my business background to be able to kind of fill that void. And I partnered up with one of my best friends, Steve K, to form Paragon Talent Group to, be a talent management company primarily, but not exclusively for professional wrestlers. And yeah, it's been a grind because all these people were locker mates of mine, people that I've wrestled with or against for years. I mean, our roster jumped up in a hurry. And now I think just around 2 years of being in business, we've done deals for over 250 wrestlers, which is just insane considering it's been. Let's go is right.
Let's go. I mean, that's amazing. That's why I wanted to just make sure you had a chance to shout that out, because athlete turned. We're all athletes. So we all come from that same background. And I love seeing that. I always say athletes have the best chance to go on and be successful somewhere else. And you're doing exactly that. So Mojo, thank you for joining me here on Montgomery Co. I love seeing you. I ain't seen you in a minute.
I know, I've missed you, my friend. Thank you so much for having me on. And I'm down to come back anytime, any place.
Please do.
Maybe even in Atlanta.
Tell Babcock I said what up.
Let's go.
Coming up next, the crew and I discuss all things WNBA. I'm talking playoffs, MVP race, and room for growth because we're having our exit interviews. Plus, the homie that's like family joins us. Dawn Montgomery's coming through.
All right, y'all, listen. So there's a lot of crazy stuff going on, including the WNBA playoffs. All right, so we all follow the whole WNBA closely. We all follow the dream closely. But for the listeners that haven't, I gave you a whole, come on, Juju, with the, that's Ryan Howard if you ain't, in case you ain't know so.
I want one of those.
A whole playoff preview at the top to just let you know in case you didn't know the teams and the matchups and who's playing who. So just you guys as a refresher, Las Vegas is playing Chicago. That's the number 1 versus 8. The number 2 versus 7 is New York Liberty versus the Washington Mystics. The number 3 versus 6 is the Connecticut Sun versus the Minnesota Lynx.
That should have been us.
Okay, and the number 4 versus 5 is the Dallas Wings against the Atlanta Dream. So we want to just, we couldn't. It's the tip off right now. It's a clean slate right now. Well, as you're hearing this, of course, it's a clean slate for the Atlanta Dream, but the playoff game started Wednesday. But we want to just talk about it. Who do we think is going to be MVP? Who do we have predictions to win it all? We're just going to tap in just a little bit on people that have an opinion about it. Boom. And just now popping in is another Montgomery. Dawn Montgomery is in the building. You guys might have seen, we talk all the time on Twitter, social media. So Dawn, we're getting into our WNBA conversation about playoffs. And I'm about to ask the crew just some questions. And I'm going to just start out with you then. And in case people don't know, Dawn, she covers usually college football, but now she's been rocking with the WNBA. So we love to have you here. Dawn, what you got? What's your thoughts going on for MVP? I'm going to just start it out easy one. It could be any choice, but MVP, we throwing her right in the fire. Dawn, what you got? And you're muted.
So for MVP, I just have to go ahead and go with Asia Wilson because, she's just been doing it. And it's just like, I don't mind her getting this again. I don't mind her doing this over and over again because, again, she should be the face of the league. I've been arguing for a very long time. But I just really think it's been amazing to see some of the things that she's done this season. I know some people have made some other arguments for other players, but she's definitely getting my top vote.
And you know what? Speaking of arguments, this is a side note, but what's going on WNBA Twitter, Dawn? Like, what's
a mess.
What's going on?
It's a mess. So first and foremost, like more recently, something that I posted today, which I know the group chats are going off. I just need people to keep it in the group chat because I really will pull up. I'm that person. I'm from that side of the family. You know what I'm saying? But more recently, you've seen the committee, do their awards, for WNBA and just really, really, really shine this season. And some of the things that they have consistently been doing from season to season, and more eyes are upon them. And so, B. Terrell and Big Low are getting an opportunity to go to Paris, and everybody's hating on it. Now, however you feel about
that's the Dawn Staley. Let me do a side note for the people that don't know. Dawn Staley and the South Carolina Gamecocks are playing a game in Paris and invited folks. Those B. Terrell, y'all should know him. He's been on the pod, friend of the pod, and then Big Low. So I'm just catching them up. So keep going, Dawn. She giving us the scoop, baby.
Listen, thank you for that because I was gonna roll into it. Okay, but overall, you've got Big Low and you've got B. Terrell getting ready to, and just have this amazing opportunity to cover this sport overseas. And instead of people just biting their tongue and not really saying anything if they had something negative to say, people have been really, really going in because they've been pointing out certain comments that the committee people have made, some things that they have said, but also at the end of the day, look at what they created. look at what they've created within this space where we don't have a lot of like personalities and voices that get an opportunity to be heard or be placed on a platform where they can travel overseas to cover this sport. So to me, I'm like, y'all just shut up. You know, you're just mad because you're not going to Paris. No, not you. And as far as and as far as I'm concerned, it's like just really show your support. We all are trying to do the things that we're trying to do within this space. And with, you know, most of us, we don't have all the resources. So the fact that they're getting this opportunity, like, if you don't have nothing nice to say, just don't say nothing at all. But one thing that I did point out today was that I'm starting to notice that some people are trying to attach themselves to the committee now because they're starting to see their, you know, the rise in the things that they're doing. And my thing is stay in your lane. Stay over there doing what you're doing. There's room for everybody. You don't have to attach yourself. No, because you got to think about it, Renee. You got people who they're clout chasers. They're people who like, oh, if I take a picture with this person, then people know that I'm in the know or whatever. I'm not doing all that. You know, like understand what you do best in this space and support those who do best in their own space, right? And so I just wanted to make sure that was brought to light because I see people and y'all know I'll call somebody out in a minute.
Okay, so that is Dawn. I love it.
Round of applause.
Yes,
salute to you, my sister.
I got on my set it off braids too. So you know what I'm talking about. It's like
you tell them haters, parlez-vous français? Oui, man. Come on, man. He hang.
And that was a great breakdown then because I really didn't actually even know what's going on. I just do know. So what is your response to people that might say that people in the committee might be talking nasty to folks, like saying that, like, so what is the other side of the coin, the argument?
The other side of the coin is now that the committee is getting the notoriety and the recognition that they're receiving, there's going to be a huge responsibility to that. Oh Lord, I need to get in the car. They don't have to wait. Here now, like it's gonna be. You're gonna have to watch what you say. You're gonna have to be careful. You're gonna have to just really just be mindful that yes, people can make critiques of the things that you're doing and that you're saying, but if you're not trying to work on yourself professionally and improving in all of the things, then it's going to be a consistent thing, which then is going to turn everyone else around to be at this point where they're like, well, I'm not going to support the committee. I don't think the committee deserves blah, 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 right? It's just going to be a continuous thing. Right. So there's room for improvement. But the thing about it is that people were using this opportunity to really kind of go in on them because honestly, if I'm going to be 100, I hadn't even seen this much talk around that part of it until this opportunity presented itself, which also led me to believe that people were just jealous because they weren't brought up in the conversation or they weren't offered the opportunity. And again, like I say, there's an opportunity for us to do various things, and Paris might not be our thing or their thing, but it's theirs. So let's support them and let's make sure we amplify the work that they're doing.
Man, listen.
Right. Salute.
I mean, yes. I don't know the whole details, but I agree with what you're like. Conceptually, what you're saying is I just think like I love it. There's never been, when I say WNBA Twitter, just so everybody knows, there's med Twitter, there's dermatology Twitter, there's book Twitter, there's tech Twitter, just so you guys know. And WNBA has the Twitter too, where it just means like the people that are constantly in the conversation is a lot of conversation. I remember when I was playing, there was no WNBA Twitter because there was not really any conversation happening in that space and in that time. So for me to go, sometimes I literally go online. This used to only be for NBA and NFL. I literally go online when something happened in the game. And I'd be like, well, I don't know. Let me go see what folks are saying about this. I used to not be able to do that in the WNBA space because there just wasn't enough people talking about it. So I do notice that there's more conversation. There's more people attending events. WNBA All-Star has more activations. I feel like because of it. Look at my guy Juju sitting here right now. He got a two jerseys and a bobblehead right there. And like, I'm just saying, this is growth. Like as a player, this is everything I dreamed of. Like I dreamed of having dudes that look like Juju rocking out with us. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's lit to me. Or people like you talking y'all's talk like, oh, this is our stuff. Like, so I'm just happy to see that the conversation is alive and well. But you know what I mean? To that point, all fans ain't like, everybody don't have to be all nicey. Like I don't really care that people don't like each other online because I see plenty of fan bases that don't like each other online.
Sure
you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, we can't. I think women's sports is so used to everybody being so rah rah, shish kumbaya. I love you. I love y'all too. Y'all all my good sis. But when I was playing against all my good sis in the WNBA, Diana Taurasi elbowed me straight in the face. She could have taken out a tooth. And you know what? She was kissing me cheek to cheek after the game. How you doing, my baby? Like, that's how it is. So listen, I just feel like when we like people got to get used to maybe not agreeing, like agree to disagree. I think people like when there's a disagreement, now everybody think they got to hate each other. You don't have to hate somebody because you disagree. It's so crazy. Like, I don't agree with what you say, but keep doing you. Like, you know,
right. And WNBA Twitter, him too, for sure. But a lot of the things that I've pointed out about WNBA Twitter is that they take every single thing personally. And I'm like, if y'all, it's like as a parent, that toddler stage, the terrible twos, where it's just like everything is going wrong or everything is just so dramatic. I didn't get none of that until Grace turned 4. My boys, they had terrible twos, but she didn't have it. So, but my thing is that this is the WNBA in stages, right? Because we didn't have it. Now that we do have it, everybody's trying to figure out how people can hear their voice on top of everyone else's. And it's like, no, shut up. Like, make space for other people to say what they need to say. And if you disagree, it's okay to point it out. Just don't call nobody no name, because I'm one of them. You call me out by name, 9 times out of 10, I'm pulling up at the next game to be like, okay, where you sitting?
Dawn, you can't do this.
Yes, sir.
We must be related.
Because we might not fight, you know what I'm saying? But the thing is I'm
gonna say it to my face.
Like, so what you said?
Boy, we got a bunch of Montgomerys on here.
Receipts. Receipts. Baby, we must be related. We have to be. That's
we gotta be. We gotta be.
At that point, though,
you're speaking to Snook and Cole's soul, because Renee's motto is "turn the other cheek," and she tries to preach that to us. But
while she's turning the other cheek, I'm about ready to punch it. I'm punching somebody else. Like, go ahead, turn your back, sis, so you don't see what's happening. Go ahead, turn your back. Yeah,
he might not do it, but we got her.
I got you.
What'd you say? Try Jesus.
Yeah,
try Jesus, not me.
No, not Dawn.
Not Dawn. All right, I love that, Dawn. Thank you for keeping us up on what's going on WNBA Twitter. Yes. I also want to just get you guys like just off top playoff predictions. I mean, it's not as cut and dry as you would think. There is Vegas there, which I do think is a solid choice, but I'm curious though, because I've seen online and there are some sleepers. Like, for instance, I'm going to just start out with my predictions. Other than if the Atlanta Dream want to get funky and want to be a frog, then leap, baby. All right. But this is our rebuild year. All right. We in there number 5. I want to go swing pound for pound. I'm going to just go with the Dream. But if I didn't pick the Dream, I honestly think that the Dallas Wings are going to make some people turn some heads. Vegas is going to win. But the Dallas Wings, I would say that's my sleeper pick. That's my sleeper choice, point blank, period. So y'all can throw out y'all sleeper or your picks. But I'm going to start with you, Snookabuka. Who you got for?
Well, I really can't give my prediction until I see what referees are doing the game.
Oh, goodness.
Listen,
because I could just see that if with some teams playing other teams, there might be some difficulties there with our officiating.
So Snook, are you picking the refs to win? Like, what are you doing? What are we doing here, Snook?
No, I would probably go with Las Vegas, but I'm just saying it's on any given day, it's more dependent not on so much the team anymore. It's dependent on who is officiating the game.
Got you. Who we got? Cole, you got any other thoughts? You said ding, ding, ding about the refs, but who you got pulling it out?
Well, I want to go all the way with Dream. I don't like picking other people. I'm one of those. I am not a fair weather fan. So if we're going to go down, we're going to go down. We're going all the way.
Come down with it.
I don't care what Vegas is predicting. I don't care what Dallas is going to make a look. I don't care about who else is going to be walking up in the state. I mean, up in the on the court. I'm saying I'm going down with the Dream. So if we go down, we going down. Whatever round we go down, I'm going down with it. I'm gonna stay right there. I ain't picking no one else.
I can't root for nobody else because quiet as is kept. If somebody if they don't get the Liberty up out of here, I'm gonna feel some type of way. I'm gonna feel some type of way. So dream today, roll out. That's where I'm at. I want these people to know.
It's
I know y'all.
fine. Listen, I like that. It's after we live. But who you
love it? I love it.
So that's where I'm at. Dream.
That's where you at.
Dream all the way. Dream all the way. And I'm gonna say that just because it's like, yes, we're in the rebuilding year or what have you, but it looks so promising. And it's like because when you go off into the playoffs, anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's like if somebody can knock out Liberty and they can knock out somebody else, then we got probably a straight pass. I want them out. Like,
let me just interject.
They need to have bad days. They're gonna have bad days sooner or later, right? So
love it.
Wishful thinking.
Wishful thinking is where I'm at. But I like it. Look, Dawn said, here's what we have to do. Knock out the number 1 seed, the number 2 seed. If people knock out the number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 seed, the dream got it. Like
let me just interject here. I'm with
job.
the dream too. I'm with the dream too. But if not the dream, it's the Las Vegas Aces, because the dream, they beat the number 2, they beat the number 3, they almost beat the number 1. So you just never know.
What you guys saying?
I'm sorry. I should call me.
No pressure. Listen,
on the spot.
Because I know I
have to pick the dream. I love y'all for rocking with us, but you don't have to pick the dream, baby.
Lies. Go ahead, Sam.
Well, I mean, of course, I like Cole said, I'm going down with the dream at whatever.
I knew it.
I like that one. I like that.
But let's say if the dream doesn't win.
Yeah, of course. If the dream doesn't win, I'm with Snook. I think Vegas could have a repeat. I mean, they're just. It's you have Asia Wilson, MVP caliber player. She's a reigning MVP. I think she's gonna do it again this year. I don't know. Like, I think Vegas could take it home again.
Okay, Vegas. Juju.
No shade to these other teams if we do, but I don't want you to think that you are a thought in my mind. That's why I don't pick other teams. I don't want to give you
is loyal to a fault.
That's it, to a fault. If we're gonna go down.
I love it. That's my sister. I love it. What you got, Juju?
Look, it's not that far-fetched for what Don said, because Chicago was up on Vegas' ass, you feel me, at halftime in Chicago about 2 weeks ago. You feel me? They had that look in their eye. And Vegas done shown us that they are very human.
Beatable.
They was superhuman in the beginning of the year. Then New York exposed them, pulled them pants down in New York City. 30 points. You feel me? Then the Commissioner Cup. Come here, John Quayle. You feel me? And John Quayle turned up when she go against them. That's the thing about New York. And Stu York. You feel me?
Okay.
When they play Vegas, it be a whole different team. Even Sloot Doggy Dog, Vandersloot, she turned into a scorer. You feel me? She turned into a scorer against them versus the assist queen, as she is. You feel me? Salute to her beating out AT at the end. You feel? I got my eye on the race. You did.
Wow, Juju,
look. Right. AT them, they got a strong chance too, because when her and Dewana tie, they about to tie that knot. You salute. You feel me? But them together,
congrats to them.
They look unstoppable at times. But I feel like them losing Brianna in the beginning of the year, that kind of it's gonna hurt during the playoffs. You feel me? Because teams can scheme against that. You feel me? And without AT, it ain't rolling. You feel me? So she got to be superhuman for them to do it. But I'm like you. I feel like you, bro. Like Dallas, they got Satu playing better than she played all year right now.
Most improved.
They got the Twin Towers right now. You feel
Lonnie
me?
And Tierra.
You feel me? And Howard, she just came back from and she back healthy. And you already know what Enrique can do at a drop of a hat. You feel
generational
me?
talent.
I've been saying Dallas the dark horse all year. Of course I love. Come on, of course I love 15. My big Al. Of course I love Ryan. You feel me?
We don't look at you.
Look, every second, every breath I breathe. You feel me? I support my dream. But we lost Nia Coffey, and she locked down the best defenders of every other squad that we ever have. So I'm a roll with Dallas if they can get rid of us. But everybody's looking all right. You did. Man.
I agree.
And I can honestly attest that Juju watches all the games. He watches all the WNBA games. Like, I don't know a bigger fan than Juju. Like, he's He's a
I
loyal,
challenge you to
true
find
fan.
one. If you listening to this right now, you think you really got me, bro, I challenge you. You can put me on a trivia show, whatever you need, bro. We gonna
This
get
is
it
facts,
done.
though. This is facts. You did do our trivia, and so
I guarantee every team is afraid of Dallas. They're not thinking about Vegas and New York right now. Most teams are afraid of Dallas.
don't listen to
Most
my
of them
Snook,
are.
y'all. I'm gonna tell
We
you right
ain't
now.
though.
Don't listen
But
to
New York,
Snook.
look, New York got to beat Vegas though. You know,
Where
Lil
exact-
Feezy, Lil Feezy go crazy every game. She gonna get you 17 rebounds randomly.
Who
She
you
gonna
say?
get you Lil Feezy. You feel me?
Nafisa?
Nafisa Collier. We call her Lil Feezy in the hood. You
Okay,
dig me?
yeah, we gonna have to
Big-
translate the
How did I
Fisher
know who he was talking about?
Look, Lil Feezy from Minnesota. You feel me? Big Dorka. Salute. You feel me? Salute the Diamond. Salute to everybody
Okay.
in
We're gonna need
Minnesota.
a nickname. We go a disclaimer as Juju is talking like salute doggy dog. We have to put Vandersloot under there so when people, you know how they have the captions on stuff. We're gonna need the captions with the people's names. We know exactly who we talking about. I love it because I love a nickname because that's good. But those were good. Those some good nicknames.
No, that's a great breakdown. And it brings me to we're at the end of the year. And I think that I want to do this towards the end of every WNBA season where we call it exit interviews as players. But every year as a player, you have to do an exit interview where you sit down with usually the head coach, you sit down with sometimes the GM, and sometimes the whole coaching staff. They tell you what they liked. They tell you what they didn't like. You tell them what you liked. You tell them what you didn't like. They tell you what you need to work on for next year, or if you'll be back next year. Sometimes you can know. Sometimes I've seen it go down in the exit interview, but I'll digress. But this is going to be our exit interviews. And the topic is, what can the WNBA improve on? Or what the WNBA is the person. They're coming into our exit interview, which is Mojo. Look at Dawn because she's like, oh, wait a minute. So one of the things that Juju, we already kind of talked about it off air, but my Diddy has brought it to me is that it's tough when you have a 3-game playoff round and the first 2 games are on the road and the last game is at home. And that's if you're the lower seed. So I'm just going to take the Atlanta Dream. We have to go to Dallas for 2 games and then we get our 3rd game. You have to earn it. That's hard as a business because we don't know how to sell our tickets. Like people don't want to buy tickets until they know there's a game, but they can't know there's a game until we win the 2nd game. But after we win the 2nd game, there's only 2 days until the 3rd game. So it's like there's some things in there that I would say exit interview style. I think a little 1-1-1 could work where the top seed gets the first home game, the lower seed gets the second home game, and then the final deciding 3rd game is decided at home of the higher seed. So that would be one of my first things for my exit interview of room for growth is what we'll call it. There's room for growth there because I think that would be better on the fans, organizations. And even if I was the top seed, I would want to try to close out a series on my home court. So that would be my exit interview for growth. Juju, I know you have one because we've been talking about this. So Juju, what would be your room for growth thoughts?
So much room for growth. But if I purchased the league pass, you feel me? Some days, some games ain't on the league pass nor the Ion network. You see the game schedule on the thing, but he turned on there, it's Hawaii down 5-0. And I'm supposed to be watching the links. You feel me? So we got to get it together. If this is an NBA product, we got to treat it with just as much care as the NBA treats its product. We don't just throw LeBron James on Hulu. You feel me? We put his games on ABC. You feel me? We give him a pregame show. We lead up to we let people get time to settle in. We don't start no game at 2 p.m. We don't start no game at 6 p.m. when you're driving home on the West Coast. Come on now. I mean, I love the W. You feel me?
Yeah.
But
we do. That's why we're doing this because we love the W. I might call it because we love the W. Like this is room for growth.
Yes, and these are just our opinions. Like everybody can have an opinion. That's fine.
So, what other room of growth? I would say, okay, to that point, Juju, and I know because it's crazy because I think of everything from the business standpoint too, because we're trying to think of how we tell our fans, like, all right, tonight's game is here or tomorrow's game, or when we're releasing a calendar, you know how they do magnets. These are things that people may not think about, but as we're trying to release calendars and different things, it would be easy to be able to just say it's on Ion, unless Ion is a national TV game, and then it's not on Ion, then it's on your local, and then it's blacked out if you're in a local market and it's on the local channel, then it's blacked out. And in that case, you probably can't even just watch it. So we know that this is not an only WNBA problem because I saw football fans all over the world when that dispute went down and they couldn't watch their football first week. What a time to start getting into a dispute. Yeah, Spectrum. Spectrum, what a
Call
time.
Call it out. Call it
Spectrum,
out.
what a time, because they had all the leverage. I'm talking about all the fans was tapping on the keyboard. Y'all better fix this. Y'all better. But to that point, while people are fixing it, this is a WNBA problem too. We need to figure out, and I know they're working on it, but it would be easy to just say, this is where you go to watch all the dream games, no matter what. But it's really not like that in a lot of sports too. But I agree, Juju. Snookabuka, you got any room for growth?
Well, I have a couple of things. The first thing is, I think there's room for the WNBA to look more to their players. For instance, back-to-back games with the same team. I just think that is just the cruddiest thing ever, to play them at home one night and then run back home, run to their place and play the next night. I just think those back-to-back games could be scheduled a little bit better. And
No, I'll say I like that.
Right.
So you basically are saying, like, just in how the schedule falls out, you just wish that you didn't have to see us match up. I mean, to that point, it is crazy because if you catch a team when they're injured and you play them, let's say 3 times in a 3-week span, I could have played a completely different team than who that team is further down the season. So to that point, I get what you're saying in that. And what, you got anything else?
And on top of that, they're doing commercial flights. So just think about that. You're doing a back-to-back on a commercial flight, and, you're just wearing your players out. I just think that can cause injuries and different things like that. So I just think they need to do a lot more to do things that are more beneficial for the players.
Yeah,
and the players' health.
I like that. Snookabuka, player health at top of mind. Dawn, what you got, Dawn?
That's one of my biggest things. I just think there's a big disconnect with the league and the players. So then when you have that disconnect, what that translate over into the fans is we don't know what the fuck is going on, if we're gonna be honest. Excuse the language. So if I'm being 100%, it's like, even if the WNBA, the league itself, had its own exit review or interview or what have you, where it's like, this is how we started the league, this is how we ended. These are some of the things that we're going off into the off season to deal with, and that's how we're going from there. I think the other biggest thing that I really want them to kind of like let the conversation die down a little bit before they jump on some decisions would be expansion. I know people want rosters to be a little more deep. They want more spaces on rosters, and expansion would help with that. But if you cannot get this league in order as far as traveling is concerned, as far as player needs is concerned, safety, and as well as like just other things that players have raised an awareness on, then why are you looking to create new teams in new cities or in some of the same cities that we've had previous teams at? We're not ready. And because when you start adding more and we start expanding, it's going to be more issues.
Like, this is funny because you're thinking, like, as a business, you would never expand a business. And like, we're just talking not sports business, but just a business. You would typically never expand a business if you don't have all your ducks in a row, if everything isn't in order, if business isn't booming, you typically wouldn't expand your business. And this is interesting because from that perspective, I do see what you're saying. It's like, I know we need more teams because there's just so many talented players that aren't making rosters.
For sure.
But I definitely see what you're saying, where like, you're like, hey, let's get our house in order first, and before we expand. That's like, really, I've never thought of it that way. So that's interesting.
Let's make the game accessible to the casual fan, because most fans stumble upon the WNBA these days. Why are you making it so difficult to find the score of the game? Even on the ESPN app, I gotta go through 4 pages just to get to the W. You feel me? Come on, like, we gotta respect the W if we want it to be respected.
Okay, and Cole,
and that was gonna.
Go
ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say they need to stop being so bougie. The WNBA is the most bougie entity I've ever seen in my entire life. We have to be to a level where I feel like, and before you get to being bougie, you gotta move up in the ranks as far as how you're moving every day. Like, you can't do the stuff you're doing right now and then say you're above something. You're obviously not. That's the part for me. Just calm down off of the bougie and accept some things that you need to accept. I mean, it's good to think that you're above and you want to have standards. But if your standards are keeping your business from growing, then you need to come down off bougie. Bougie's not working for you. It's not working. That's what I would say in my exit interview.
Oh,
Stop
that's
being
cold.
so bougie.
So
and Nikki, maybe that means that they need to add some more people to their administration that have some newer, fresher ideas.
Come on.
Because the ones that it's just kind of everything warmed over every year. They warm it over and put it back.
It's leftovers. It's leftovers. Yeah. And
so, I mean, this is the point
in the kitchen.
This is the point of exit interviews, though, y'all. Like, this is really so. If this sounds like harsh, imagine this is what players do at the end of every season, where a coach really might be like, "Hey, listen, next year you will not be shooting 3-pointers if you shoot the same percentage you shot this year." Like, this is how a real exit interview will go. They'll be like, "From the 3-point line, you shot 27%." So I'm just saying, like, they will tell you, "Babe, you got anything?"
Yeah, I mean, just like I feel like just to everything that you said, we're fans of the game, we're fans of the league. So, whenever you're in the entertainment business, you have to listen to the feedback of what the audience is telling you. And so we're the ones that are consuming it. We're the ones that are not able to access it. We're the ones that's looking at the product. So you have to receive that feedback and take note of it. So just to Juju's point, that was one of the things that I had written down: accessibility. If I'm a fan, unless I have 3 screens or a game on my iPad, on my phone, on my TV, I can't watch 3 games at 1 p.m. That's my thing. Like, I can't watch all the games at the same time. When Renee says, "Oh, I'm so excited today, I'm going to watch basketball, NBA basketball all day," is literally slated like 2 or 3 hours apart. Every game she watches basketball all day long. But then with the WNBA, is like we have
4 games.
We have like either 1 p.m. games, all of them, or all of them at 7. And it's like, oh, how can we watch all of them at the same time if you're a true fan? That's my problem with it.
No, that's a good point. I mean, sometimes you can't get around it. Like, if it's a weekday, you may have a couple 7 o'clock games, but on a Sunday or a Saturday, to my baby's point, I be telling everybody, listen, Linda, if I got a full slate of games, it's gonna be me and Twitter all day long. We have 2 TVs to that point though, but I would love that. For instance, this past September 10th, every team in the league played. So I wish there was games starting at noon, 2, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I'm talking about had them games all day, because when I got back home from the Atlanta Dream game on September
missed all
10th,
of them.
I missed everything.
Everything was over.
Right.
And so I just and that's just another layer of detail where we are fans that want to consume it all. Like I'm not just an Atlanta Dream fan. I'm a fan of the whole entire WNBA.
Of the sport.
So when we think about things, it's just like we want the sport to be better. So that's why we just had our exit interview. We appreciate Dawn Montgomery. Juju, you got something?
Yeah, before we get out of the exit interview, I would be remiss if I don't bring up, look, if CP3-2 go to Dallas and play like she been playing too, Candace Parker, Cheyenne Parker, holy moly, they in trouble. And we can't count out B Sites, and because they healthy for the first time of the year. The Mystics. You feel me? They
B Sites with them shoulders. Yeah.
You feel me?
Game against New York.
But time out, Dawn. Did I see you thirsting over slime? That's my homie. I think I saw
It
you.
was.
Why you calling her out like that?
I ain't even gonna sugarcoat it. It was.
Well, so slime, what up, man? Okay, so Snoop, what was you saying?
Okay, could I just throw something in real quick?
Better hurry.
Okay, well, all I want to say is, besides looking and getting new people in, they need to be looking at the people who officiate the games, because it seems like I'm just saying. I mean, you go out there, you put your heart on the line, and you playing a game, and then these referees are calling all kinds of crazy things. They're calling things that first graders know that are walks and things like that. I think they need to clean that up, because that causes players to get hurt, and it can cause outcomes of the games to be different from the officiating. So that's one of my
So Snook wanted me to stop so she could say again. I'm gonna tell y'all, Snook keeps a little notepad with the ref numbers, and she has an all-star list, meaning who is that bad to make her all-star list. So I'm just telling you, she's very into it. But that's our Mojo exit interviews for the WNBA season. Tap in on the playoffs is going down, and big shouts to Dawn Montgomery. She ain't family, but she's family, man. Okay. All right, Dawn Montgomery.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Come back, Dawn.
I will.
Let's get it. All right, this whole outro is about getting ready for the dream game. Friday, which is tomorrow, if you're listening on release day, Thursday. Friday, we got some work to do. Dream. This is what we got to do. Play your game. Everybody gets to the playoffs and thinks they got to do everything different. The people that do well are the people that do what they do and do it well in the playoffs. Don't try to get cute. I be telling my teammates, don't try to get cute. Don't try to be a hero. Just do your job and stay locked in and stay together. I'm going to be with you. The city's going to be with you. We are behind you, and you already did your thing. You made it. Let's go have some fun. Let's go dream. I'll see y'all next week.